This week on the Unqualified Gamers Podcast, the boys have Jack Pattillo on to talk about the new game, Last Caretaker. Episode 111. Here we go. No, it's been a while since I've used this program, so... Okay, what the fuck? Okay. Alright, so we had some technical difficulties. I know that it's hard to believe with this podcast. We had some technical difficulties. We do have Jack Pattillo on as a guest. We'll get to him in a second. Kai's got something he wants to say real quick?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've probably seen the comment. I deleted it later, but we've been having real weird things where like the views will go up, then they'll go down, they'll go up. Real awkward. So
just on YouTube, too.
It is just on YouTube, yeah. So don't forget to go down, hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know that you're there. That way when we're seeing the views, we know what we're actually kind of around. Yeah. So
like it, share it.
Just like it as soon as you see the video, like it, hit a comment, whatever have you, and then go on.
And we are now recording with Riverside FM. We're not on Discord anymore, so let us know if you notice the quality better or worse or anything like
Maybe
that.
Something we need to change, yeah.
But let's get right into the interview with Jack Pattillo, everybody.
So the Last Caretaker, basically, something happened, alternate reality, like an alternate version of the Earth. The ice caps have melted. The planet's been flooded. And so humanity had to leave Earth because they're like, hey, we can't live here anymore. Humanity went out in space, and they were in space, and they realized very quickly, like, oh, for some reason we can't produce children in space. It's a thing where we just can't replicate while we're in space. So what they did was they sent down human DNA seeds to Earth onto these platforms that were taken care of by a caretaker robot. And so these human seeds were then raised, incubated, and then once they were viable, they were shot back up into space. So basically, once they became kids, they would get launched back up into space to rejoin the humans out in space that were surviving and thriving. But something happened, and we don't know what. And now, some 100, 200 years later, you wake up as a caretaker robot. All the other caretaker robots have been shut down, disabled, destroyed, who knows exactly what, and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on and who you are, who brought you here, and what your purpose is. So and that's pretty much it. So you go around, you've got a ship that you cruise around on, go from platform to platform. Some may be like a fuel platform, some might contain human seeds, some might be did we lose? We lost somebody.
We lost Kai.
Yeah,
so some of the platforms might be somewhere.
He's got really bad.
Go ahead.
Bad hotel internet right now. So
I think it's bad juju. He's got something wrong with him.
No. Well, he's all right. I don't know. He's all right. It's kind of weird,
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, so you kind of go around from platform to platform, finding human DNA seeds and trying to resurrect them and then ship them off to space. And then that's the initial goal. Once we get the early access version up, that'll be kind of the game loop. And then we're going to add more and more on as we go from there. So
yeah, it looks, like I said, it looks really interesting. I really like that you can, when you're playing through the game, you're able to pick up literally everything, like the duffel bag, the teddy bear, the bodies, the glow stick was cool. That you could pick that up. I didn't think you were gonna be able to pick that up. You picked it right up. So it's
pretty much anything on the ground you can pick up. So that's, if so Auntie and the rest of the team, a lot of the guys were from Red Links, which did all the Trials games, and Trials are a very physics-based game. And so they take a lot of that knowledge from those games and all the physics. And like, just me, I love it sounds like you, I just love picking up stuff and just seeing if I could throw it. And so I will just rampage and just chuck stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
And so some people, like, it's funny because when I'm streaming live, some people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have to move everything. I just have to throw it everywhere. And so, then we have a recycler machine.
You can't do that.
Yeah, we have a recycler machine where you can like throw stuff into it and like recycle stuff. And so I will just chuck everything into there I can. So
my OCD is going to be insane for this game. I can already tell.
It's pretty cool. I was bummed out. The video I watched today, I was bummed out when you actually got on the ship is when you ended the demo. So I was hoping you were gonna be able to go out a little bit, but with time we'll see it. So
well, just yesterday I streamed. Basically, we left the hangar and then I kind of warped ahead to the first platform, so I kind of showed it off. I didn't really play through it, but kind of like see what one of the platforms looks like. I'll actually share the footage with you. I think we released it through press release yesterday or today or something. But yeah, and so that's kind of showing what sort of the platforms will look like. You saw some of the first enemies on that platform as well, which we have these little like robot guys, or like little egghead robots with little like feet. They're super cute, and they actually won't attack you unless you attack them first. And so, yeah, it's kind of like the idea is like if we were technologically advanced and we had these platforms that were being protected by robots, and it's like, okay, so these robots are there to secure these platforms, so typically they won't come after you unless you sort of go after them first. And so there's some really cool stuff in the game. There's also some weird other stuff in the game you're going to encounter that might be trying to go after you. Some things are attracted to electricity, some things are scared of light. There's a lot of cool different ways you can kind of play with what's out there, and we kind of try to put the tools in the players' hands and let them figure it out.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool how you like charge the ship and you fill it with diesel and stuff. I thought that was all really cool. So I'm excited.
I got yelled at. I used to call it petrol because I thought that's what the English people called it. I was like, no, it's diesel. It's like, okay, sorry. So they're very, very strict. It's diesel. It's not petrol. It's diesel. It's like, all right, fine.
Petrol is like the unleaded gas or something, and then
Who knows?
I just call it gas. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, it's been a lot of fun though, because like I've been on the game now for a while, and just like from where I started to where we are now, just the amount of change in the game that has happened has been incredible. And even we had some tech issues when I was at Kind of Funny earlier this week, where we had a build of the game. So we had issues with the build I was meant to show off, and so they just loaded up one of the other builds on kind of like the list on Steam, and it was a build that was like 4 months old, and like we loaded it. I'm like, that doesn't feel right, and it loaded. I'm like, that is not the right build. I'm like, we won't be showing this off. But it was so weird seeing like, oh, that's the version I saw, back in December, and so yeah, it's moving very, very quickly. And it is wild because the guy's been working on all the tools to make the game. So like they've been working on all these different tools they can use to like make platforms, make levels. And now they're those tools are sort of done. And so now I'm seeing these levels come together so quickly. Whereas before it was like little itty bitty, like slow movements. Now it's like, oh, I finished a whole chunk of a level in one day. And it's like, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing over there?
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. And it's,
is it going to be
stuff that like
single player or multiplayers? Are going to be any multiplayer aspect?
It's a single player adventure game, and so yeah, as far as like online stuff goes, like we've got ideas to incorporate online, but as far as it's going to be single player, the game is a single player game. So there might be some stuff online in the future that we'll talk about further down the line, but right now we're focusing on just crafting a fun game that you can play, not something sprawling that's going to be hundreds of hours, just something you can sit down, tells a really interesting story, and that you can finish and actually enjoy it. So yeah, that's our main focus. And we talked a little bit about early access earlier, and the fact that early access has also changed. So that's what we're aiming for. When we release the game, it'll come out in early access, then we'll have a gold version released after that. But our target with early access is interesting because 5 years ago when it was like Steam Greenlight or whatever, it was like early access. You could put out like broken stuff and it was like, oh, that's early access, whatever. Or even like 7 Days to Die was in early access for 9 years or something like that. And so for ours now, but now people expect it when it's like early access, like, oh, it's just a smaller version of the game. So we actually have to make it a lot more clean, a lot more polished before we can release it as an early access title, even though that's kind of what early access is meant to be. It's meant to be like you sort of like, we're still working on it. Really. But even with that, people expect so much more out of an early access title than they used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I will say it's very clean from what I've been seeing you play with the game. What engine is it on?
It is Unreal. We're using Unreal 5 or 5.5 or whatever they call it now. It's whatever the newest version of Unreal is. And so with that makes it a lot easier. So initially we're launching the game PC only, so it's going to be on Epic Game Store and Steam, but we have eyes to put it on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2. So it's like we're looking to take it elsewhere. And because of Unreal makes it a lot easier to kind of translate over to those other systems. As far as I know, again, I'm not in developments on the programming side of it, but from what I understand, Unreal has made it easier to be able to move around in between platforms.
Right on.
If they're able to use like AI to like help switch with the coding to make it from a little bit PC to controller and stuff.
Maybe. I mean, I know like the AI tools that are out there now are pretty incredible. I mean, I know I've used them personally for some stuff. Like a lot of the content creation things people are really terrified of, and I get that. I totally understand that. Like for me, I hear AI voice, and that's like, oh, my voice is my bread and butter. And like even now, I've had people send me like voice clips of stuff that sounds like me saying stuff that is not me. Yeah, and that's pretty freaky. I'm not a fan of that. But I mean, some of the tools, like I've used stuff where I've like written emails to people where it's like I can go to ChatGPT and be like, can you make this look nicer? And then it'll like clean it up for you. It's like, that stuff's neat. Like, that's a cool tool. But of course, I go through and then I reread everything it says and I polish it and make it look good. Where I've seen some people literally it's like copy paste, and it's like, oh, that's don't do that.
I'm currently looking for a job. I threw my
crutch.
Resume in there and made it a lot better, I thought. So
yeah. And I mean, I get I understand that people are freaking out now about AI, and I totally get that. It is because now it is touching into realms that people thought AI wouldn't get to. It's like, when you're making content, when it's like, oh, it's drawing things, it's making art now. It's like, oh, that's not cool. Like, the humans are supposed to do that, not no one else. And so I understand the sort of panic, but at the same time, like, AI has been used to make levels and stuff for ages. I mean, like, generated levels where it's like, oh yeah, you just kind of hit program and it spits out a level. It's like, that's AI, and it's been in games forever. Like in Minecraft, when you have those levels that span forever, that's no one crafted that. That's all the computer generated, which is the same stuff. But anyway, it's the whole AI debate. I get it. It's freaky. There's parts of it I'm not a fan of. There's parts of it I understand that can be used properly, but we'll see how it goes. In a year from now, I'm sure we'll all be replaced with robots. Right. It'll be 4 robots talking to each other.
Do you think Siri or Waze or anything every time you get to a destination? Like, are you every time I get somewhere and I get there in one piece, I say, hey, thanks, Waze. That way when Skynet takes over, they know that I was a homie from the beginning. Just wondering your thoughts on that one.
I got you, robot.
Right?
No, I do tell anytime I go through a toll booth and I actually interact with a human, I always tell them I love them, and then I drive off. Because I figure I'll never see them again.
I tell Alexa thank you quite often. So
okay.
Now you do.
No, I mean I have for a long time. But sometimes sometimes I gotta yell at her because she like doesn't listen right, and it's irritating. But then you gotta make it right. But so something we've talked about quite a bit on the show. We all have far different opinions on it. What are your opinions on GTA 6? Obviously coming out, like releasing on console only first. What do you
are we taking bets on? Are we taking bets on whether or not it comes out this year? Is that the thing?
Well, I mean,
I don't. 2026.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out this year. Do you think it's weird that it's not coming out on PC right away?
Yes and no. I mean, it's kind of lame. I mean, I've transitioned to almost a full PC guy. Like, I have a Switch, but like I honestly don't currently have an Xbox or a PlayStation plugged in my house.
Do you own them though?
I have an Xbox Series X. I do not have a PS5.
Okay.
Just because like it's so big.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd put it.
Right.
I mean, at least now I know if I had to, I would probably just go buy one. Because I feel like you can get them now, right? Like, they're not.
You can get them anywhere now. Finally.
And so
for like 5 years.
For me, like, I mean, I do, like, if I'm playing games, typically I'm playing on my computer, and I sit down, I stream stuff, so it's like easier for me to have my setup. I know my system. I built my system, so I know what's in it. I know how powerful it is and what it can handle. But yeah, I feel like consoles, like, the goal for a console felt like it was trying to become a PC. Except for like Switch is a little different, but like Xbox and PS5, I felt like, oh, they're just trying to be small computers. Whereas Switch is like, we're just something different. It's like, okay, cool, good on you. But now I feel like, well, if you're just trying to be a PC, just get a PC. Like, I feel like that's the way to go.
So so real quick, while we're here, since you built your system, is Jack Pattillo an AMD guy or an Intel guy?
I have Intel in both my machines right now, so whether or not that'll change, I don't know.
We're all Intel guys, so
yeah. Well, I mean, so part of my job is actually I'm pricing out on PC Part Picker. I'm pricing out a new machine because my primary gaming machine is now like 6 years old.
What's your GPU?
So I've got a 3080 in it. So
oh wow, okay.
It's not bad. I mean, it was built. I mean, it was built by NVIDIA. So I did a GeForce Garage episode, and they built a machine for me. And I'm friends with those guys, and so like I've kept in touch, and so they helped me. Like, I have 2 machines based off Doom. So they built me a Doom machine, and then I made Doom 2, which is my streaming recording machine. And so I have 3080s in both of those. And so one's for streaming and recording, one's for gameplay. But they're both kind of getting long in the tooth right now. And so I think it's time for me to, hopefully bump up to at least the 40 series, maybe the 50 series if I know the right people.
We're all in the same position. I have a 2070 Super. I think Zeus has a 2080 Super. And Kai, do you have a 30 series yet?
No, I got a 2080 Super.
Yeah, 2080 Super.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have a 4060 Ti now, but
Okay.
Yeah. So I just upgraded that. But
so what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to get work to basically pay for a new machine because I'm like, hey, I'm promoting your game. I need there's stuff. I mean, even now there's stuff in the game with like some of the RTX stuff and the reflections that like I can't do because I don't have I don't have a 40 series. So I'm like, hey, if you want me to show that stuff off, you better set me up. And they sound like they're pretty positive about it. So I've sent them over kind of like, this is the build. It's like, this is how much it'll cost with like a 40 in it. This will be with 40 series. This will be a 50 series. And they were like, no one seemed upset. So hopefully, that'll be happening in the future. And then I can do a stream where I build a machine, using the machine I'm going to replace.
Yeah.
So back to GTA. What do you think there's been a lot of talk about the price point of what it's going to come out at. What are your thoughts on that?
Has there been talk about it? I mean,
a lot of people have been talking. They think the base one's going to be $100. They think they're going to raise the price on it. Or subscription.
I don't think it'll be subscription. I don't think they would do that. I think they'll have online. That'll be their subscription model. They're going to get so much money off online.
Oh yeah.
I think so. We had to jump up to $70 for I think the newest Call of Duty. I think Dead Space was
the last year. I think pretty much every major game is $70 now.
Yeah. Ours won't be $70. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I mean, as far I wouldn't be shocked. I would be a little shocked if it was $100. I would say more the range between 70 and 100. I could see it being $80. Here's the deal: GTA 6 is going to sell a bajillion copies.
Oh yeah.
People have been waiting in that game. I mean, GTA 5. I mean, GTA 5 came out for the Xbox 360. So yeah, I mean, it's it's been that long for a new GTA title. And Red Dead 2, the story in it was so good, and
they dropped GTA 5 at the right time, right before the new consoles came out. So everybody bought it on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One or the PS3 and 4 or 4 and 5. So it was 3 and 4, right? Yeah. 3 and 4.
Yeah, it would have been 3.
Yeah, it was right. It was like a couple months before the new consoles dropped. So everybody bought it on Xbox 360, and then most people I know bought it on the new one when it came out too. So they made so much money on that, but
and then the amount of money they made on the online stuff, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's great for them. I'm psyched. I have a lot of friends at Rockstar, and I'm pumped for them that they all have giant mansions now. No, really.
No, they do. Right?
It is. Well, it is sad because the story, I love stories in games. And so the GTA 5 story was so interesting, and I was excited for DLCs. And there was a lot of stuff, there was that building being built downtown. I was like, oh, obviously that's going to lead to something in a future DLC or something like that. And then they saw just the dump trucks full of cash every month that were showing up for the online stuff. And they're like, why don't we just keep doing this? And so, I mean, if you count all the DLCs which is updates for GTA 5 online, I mean, they've done a lot of stuff, but I don't think they ever released any proper single player DLC, right?
I don't believe so. I know they bought 5M, which was the GTA RP, one of the big RP things. They bought that. So which was kind of wild. Which I think they bought that. Well, I know they bought that, but so when they bought it, it took over to where you couldn't have they added real cars to the game in 5M, and when they bought that, they took it out because they obviously they couldn't have them. But I think they did that because I think they're gonna run the role playing thing.
They themselves. Are. It's supposed to be integrated in the game. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I mean, that was one of the things that was oh yeah, it'd be kind of cool. It's hey, do you want to be a taxi driver? Sure, I'll be a taxi driver online. Yeah. I mean, I like that idea of oh, this is a real working world that you can just become a part of, as opposed to it's just jerks flying around dive bombing everything. It's oh no, this is actual society that you can kind of play a role in if you want to and try to earn stuff that way. That's cool. Almost going back to was it Second Life? Kind of just live a normal life within a game. That's interesting to me. And
Mm.
like, I mean, I'm a big fan of like MMOs, and I always loved the idea was like Star Wars Galaxies, where you could like become like a gem crafter, and then like you could level up to a point where it's like you were like one of the only people who can make these certain things in the game, and so people would find you to like make this stuff. Like, I like that sort of stuff. I wish we had more games like that, you know, as opposed to just like, hey, it's World of Warcraft, everyone can do everything they want to do. It's like, all right, and you know,
cheaters kind of ruined GTA Online for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I do hear horror stories of like people where they'll join a lobby and like a cheater shows up and it's like, oh, it just gives everyone millions of dollars.
Yeah, and
then like Rockstar just bans any account that has fake money. It's like I didn't want to do with that. So that's kind of lame. So I mean, hopefully they can clamp down on that.
Aiden Ross was talking about creating his own server, and then people would actually earn like crypto.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk that the game might like be tied to a crypto or something, or some way to, you know, if you sell things in the game. I don't know. I
think that'd be a little crazy if I'm being honest. But
yeah.
Now one thing, still don't own it. So
you don't know GTA 5? That's crazy.
Now there was so in Trials Rising, one of Auntie's last games with Ubisoft, there was a neat thing where they had like sort of a content creator built into the game where you could make like shirts, and they had like different like, you know, like different stuff you could basically apply like kind of layers on, and you could actually like design shirts and do whatever you want. And there was an in-game store where you could go online and use points that you kind of earned in the game. I don't think you could pay for it. I think you literally just had to earn it in game, but you could buy people's shirts. So I could be like, I can make a shirt, put it up in the store, like the you know, Trials store. And if someone bought it, I got a cut of it. So like if, you know, 10 people bought my shirt, I would get like credit in game to then buy other stuff. And it was like, that's really cool. Yeah, and I am surprised we haven't seen more of that. Like the idea of like, oh, I could go into GTA and design stuff and say like, oh, here's my storefronts. You can go on the GTA online internet, which has existed since 3.
I feel like that's disappearing.
Go to my store and
like designing your own logos and stuff in games. I feel like it's not what it used to be. I thought it would be way far advanced than you know now.
Man,
everybody just wants to draw dicks, right? I mean, that's what they do, right?
I mean, like, you look at like there was a Call of Duty when you could do like, you know, make your own banners, and it was just nothing but swastikas, and it's a nightmare for some content creators. Let me pitch you an idea. This is something I've had in my head for ages, over 15, 20 years at this point.
All right, let's hear it.
Say, hi, I am Rockstar. I'm making GTA 6. We have radios in the game. Or hi, I'm EA and we're making Skate 4 or Skate period, and we have music in the game. I want to make a radio station that broadcasts exclusively through video games. And so say for example, you could call in and make a request, just like old school radio. I don't know how old you guys are, but you could call up and say like, hey, I want to hear Yeah. But I mean, like, you could call and be like, hey, I want to hear, you know, I don't know, like the Chris Cornell song. Like, okay, cool. And then, like, just like an actual radio station, you'd have live DJs who like, oh, hey, this one's a shout out to our friends over at Liberty City. Here's some, you know, Soundgarden. And then, bam, the song plays live. And then have those studios, have Rockstar, have EA, whoever licenses the radio, like, license that content from you. And then you just have a live radio station.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I've always, because they've sort of emulated radio stations in GTA for a while, but I would love to see that actually become a real thing. And I am blown away they have not done like a live radio station yet in any game, as far as I know.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The closest thing to anything that like real world interaction with like a video game, I think, was Defiance. I don't remember if you guys remember that TV show or not. But basically, the politics that happened within the game itself for like the first 2 seasons dictated how the show actually went and what direction the show went through people actually playing it. The game went on for years. I think they're actually bringing it back. I've got a couple 100 hours into it. It was great. But after about, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons, they stopped with the, you know, video game stuff, because it basically came down to like one group of people. You know, because every server that's an MMO has like the one group that kind of runs everything. Yeah. And so they basically dictated exactly how they wanted things to go. And they're just like, yeah, that's not really what our intentions were. So that ended up dying out. But the whole idea of it was an awesome idea. And then the only other crossover type thing, do you remember Dust 514 by any chance?
I do not.
It was an EVE Online first-person shooter, so it was a PlayStation exclusive where while playing EVE Online, you were able to do, like, drop pods and stuff to your corp members that were playing a PlayStation game to, like, drop them supplies or
Yeah, okay, I
whatever it
remember
is.
that.
And, it was awesome, right? Like, you could get on Discord, or at the time, it was actually TeamSpeak, and be like, "Hey, guys, I need whatever, whatever on this planet in this system," and they would bring things in for you. Or you could, like, doomsday the planet, and you could, like, things that would interact with this PlayStation game from a totally different game on PC. So the technology's out there. I hope Rockstar takes your idea, just
Right.
patent it first. Make sure you get
Oh,
your
yeah.
3 cents.
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean,
there's no
I-
reason they couldn't just like put real radio stations in there. It wouldn't take.
Well, I'm sure there
anything to do
is.
with it.
I'm sure there is a reason they haven't done it. I'm sure
Yeah.
licensing is a nightmare, especially. But I mean, then to make it U.S. only if it's a thing where it has to be like
Yeah.
domestic or whatever. I don't know. It just feels like a no-brainer to me. It feels like, they've done, especially, with GTA, they've done like, radio stations in game before.
Yeah.
But it's like, just make it a real thing. Make it a live thing.
They could integrate with like Spotify, so where you play your own playlist through the radio too. That'd be kind of cool.
And with a game like GTA, they're an 800-pound gorilla. If Rockstar rolls up to Spotify and is like, "Hey, we have an idea," Spotify's gonna listen. I imagine.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. yeah. And make sure you
Well, I
listen
see
to
that
the
in game,
Qualified
and
Gamers
you tell
podcast
me
up there,
that-
guys. It's definitely
yeah. If you have that come out in game and you don't get any sort of part of it, I'm gonna be upset for you.
No, I'm sure it's not a unique idea. I'm sure people have been thinking about it for a while. It's just, I actually, for what it's worth, I looked into saying like, what would it take to like make a station that you can then license out? But there was a lot of hoops to jump through, and like radio stuff. It's all a thing. So, but I mean, that was also 15 years ago when I was playing around with it. But
right.
See it on the live version of the game.
So is there any other games you've been playing lately?
So actually, as a matter of fact, literally today, Assassin's Creed Shadows hits. I was very lucky that I got a key last week, and so I've been playing it a little bit. And so I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan.
Yep.
And so it's been, it's been 2 years since the last. All right, we got 2.5 years since the last one, so or something like that. And so I'm excited to get into there. And I've previewed a little bit of it, played a little bit of it, but I just love the story of Assassin's Creed. I love like the modern day stuff, and so I feel like with the last one, with the one with Bossum. Not Odyssey, whatever it was, Mirage. Like there was no modern day stuff at all. It was all just like through his perspective, which is like, but already playing around with Shadows. Like it starts off very much like you're in an Animus, like you are, like they're talking to you inside the Animus, and now you're experiencing this stuff. It's like, okay, we're gonna get more of that, and like I love that sort of modern day story that they've interwoven. And I still think it's a huge miss that they didn't turn Watch Dogs into a modern Assassin's Creed game kind of quietly, where it's like, oh, actually Watch Dogs, it's part of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wanted more out of Watch Dogs. Yeah, I wanted more out of it.
But I mean, even there was a mission in Watch Dogs to like assassinate an Abstergo employee. So it's like they're in the same universe.
Yeah.
It's just they've never blatantly been like, oh no, this is like Watch Dogs, like these are actually assassins and Templars that you're dealing with, not
Missed
just
opportunities.
Whoever.
Missed opportunities.
So I'm excited to check out Assassin's Creed. That's always been my jam.
Yeah, for sure. It's a huge game. I know I used to watch everybody play that game back in the day. That was I never really got into it myself too much. I played the first couple of them, but they just kind of lost me after a while. But Jurassic Park Evolution 2 is free on Epic Games this week. And it is. It's a big game, and I've been wanting to play it, so I already snagged it this morning. So
nice.
So make sure you snag that for free.
I beat the first one. I haven't touched the second one yet, though, so I'm going to grab that too. Thank you for the reminder.
It's kind of like a Sim City, but with Jurassic Park. You build the park, right? So if that interests you, snag that. So it looks
totally not the game I was
and
thinking
put animals
of.
and get them to replicate and stuff. It's
I was thinking of the Sega Genesis Jurassic Park.
Oh, that amazing game.
The game
Jurassic
based
Park
on the movie.
2. Jurassic Park 2 is the best one. The best one.
I was like 7 or 8 trying to play that thing. I was never going to beat it at that point. It was horrible.
I beat the second one. The first one I can't get past like the first couple levels, so I'm terrible at it. But so a new game came out a couple weeks ago. Kai, me and Kai have been addicted to it. Fragpunk, right?
Yeah, Fragpunk. I don't know if you've. I don't know if Jack. He says he's more solo. I don't know if he plays. Do you play any sort of like first, third person shooters or anything?
I play Call of Duty Zombies. I'm not a PvP guy. I'm a PvE guy. So Call of Duty Zombies is about as close to PvP as you're gonna get with me. Play a crap load of that though.
Well, it's it's like a Valorant CS:GO kind of a game. In one thing, it's like 5-on-5 or 6-on-6. I can't remember.
5-on-5.
Yeah. But one thing I'm noticing though, and I believe it's made by the same people that made Marvel Rivals, right? The same studio made it.
Is it NetEase?
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
I think so.
I
Well, one thing I'm noticing is the characters remind me a lot of Apex Legends characters. Like, if you line them up beside each other, you're like, wow, I can see where you got the inspiration for that.
You can draw the lines.
Yeah, I just like the fact that like before each round, every round can be different. Like one side is smoked, or the enemy has big heads for that round, or whatever have you. It's just nice that it's not exactly the same thing constantly.
Cards to make it different every round, so it's pretty cool. But I just hit level 30. I beat Kai's best round this morning.
I haven't reached level 30 yet. Calm down, all right?
But
give me time.
10 kills, 2 assists, no deaths.
Ooh.
Kai was at 9-0, and I tied him the other day, but I didn't beat him. So
now he beat me, so I gotta go beat him again. So.
I had one ace in Rainbow Six Siege that we were streaming live from the Achievement Hunter office, and everyone else died, and then I got an ace, and that was probably my best achievement ever in FPS gaming, like competitive gaming, and we got it on stream on camera. So I'm like, I will never top that. That was the best I ever did.
I got one of those in Rainbow Six Siege too. I got lucky. I saved it to like one of my highlights, and I was like, I think that might be one of the only ones I've ever done. But that's
I loved that game when it first came out. Like the first year, I loved it, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't realize it had such an uproar until recently. It's just it's massive now.
Huge.
It's bigger than it was when it came out.
I think X will be extremely downloaded for sure.
Yeah.
Have you played any Helldivers 2 at all, Jack?
I played a little bit of it when it first came out, and it was a clever game, but I just kind of never, like, I know there was like the big controversy when it first came out where like, I guess PlayStation, or they were forcing you to use a PlayStation account, and by then I'd already kind of tapered off of it, and so then it sort of lost steam, but I guess now it's like doing really well again, so I know they're adding like a new faction in pretty soon. It's supposed to be pretty cool, and I love the idea of it. I love the idea that there's like a storyteller, there's like someone who's watching the world. It's kind of like the DM for the game, who's kind of like, okay, this is kind of the story and how it's going to flow, and they're reacting in real time to what's going on. I love that, and I love kind of that, like that living world, like a living document of a video game. That's a clever idea, and I wish we saw more stuff like that, because it gives you a chance to kind of go back and like, experience something different, or like help influence the way the world is shaped. And honestly, that's something like if GTA 6 had something like that, or like that would be incredible, where it's like, oh, like suddenly there's like huge gang warfare on the beach, so now there's going to be a larger police presence over there, and so it's going to be harder to do stuff in that area. And so like things like that to make it feel more real and more alive, I think that would be neat, and I'd love seeing that kind of stuff being implemented in games.
I figured with you being a big PvE guy, that'd be like one of your top games now.
Yeah. That was definitely one of those ones I could see myself getting hooked into, and I just kind of like didn't fall into the trap of, at least not yet.
Not yet. So if you go back and start playing, you might just snag right in.
Maybe, dude. I've logged so many hours. I've got like over 100 hours in the Last Caretaker already, which is crazy, and which is pretty wild. And then right now I'm actually playing Stardew Valley. And like my wife has got into the Switch version of Stardew Valley, so I started playing that with her. And then on my personal YouTube channel, I'm now putting out content where I put out a Stardew Valley episode every single day. So every day in game is one video. So if I play on it, like, Saturday the 27th or whatever, that episode comes out on a Saturday, and then you can watch it like that one day. And so the idea is like watch me play in real time.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that right now, which is kind of fun.
Girlfriend is big into that game. I love it too. I played it a lot.
I mean, she's got like she probably has a couple hundred hours into it. I think I've got like 700 or 800 hours into Stardew at this point. Yeah,
that's a lot of hours, dude.
Honestly though, Stardew's great, and I love the direction that Concerned Ape has been going. I can't wait till Haunted Chocolatier comes out.
Is that an expansion? Or is that a new game?
No. It's a completely new game that the creator of Stardew Valley is putting out. It's going to have a darker theme to it, and it's still going to be like, it's basically going to be Stardew Valley, but darker. So if you have played something like Graveyard Keeper, it should be more along those lines.
Okay.
And so they've been talking about it for a long time, but his big thing is he refuses to let Stardew Valley fall by the wayside just because he's working on something else. He doesn't want to be that guy that just moves on to a new project that will make him money. This is what everyone loves. He keeps putting it out. I don't think he's ever charged for DLC or for any additional content of any kind. Like, it's just
I've only done the base biome in Stardew. I should like branch out and try a different one. But
well, it's not just that. They've included like a night market. They've included another island off the middle of nowhere. I mean, if you go back from like what it originally was to what it is now, you turned a game that had maybe a 40 or 50 hour gameplay thing, and that was it, to probably a 200-hour full completion thing. And I'm not talking about just finishing the community center. I'm talking about if you do every aspect of the game, you're looking at 100 plus, possibly up to 200 hours now, which is amazing that it's still all coming to you for the base price of the game. So kudos to Concerned Dave.
It's a very cool game. Has anybody seen the gameplay from Repo yet?
Oh yeah, no. It's like the new Lethal Company.
It kind of but it looks like hilarious.
I think that's just gonna be one of those games that it depends on who you play with, because if you've got a funny friend that doesn't care if they die and is willing to scream and run, you're gonna get some funny content.
Saw Jinxie, Sketch, and Queso playing it the other day, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of games like that. I feel sort of like pop up and they're super hot and then kind of just fall off.
Yeah, they're super hot for like a week or two. We've bought them all so far. Like, what was it?
It started with Among Us or whatever, or Lethal Company, and then it went to Protocol Lockdown and Lockdown Protocol. Now it's
what was the one where you're like a streamer and you have to make content?
Oh, content warning.
Yeah, content warning. Yeah, that one was
I
great
didn't buy
too.
that one. I tried to get people to get that with me, but again, like it would have been one of those ones we played it like 2 or 3 times and never played it again. I think there's not a lot of replayability, but it's fun to watch. So
man, so for what it's worth, I'm actually me and an old friend of mine, Adam from Rooster Teeth. He was our IT guy. We're actually working on a game right now. Like he was always like, I want to make a game, and so I pitched him this idea for a game, and we're like, how has no one made this yet? And so hopefully we'll have a game up sometime this year. It's gonna be fun, but it is interesting because like now watching, like being on the development side of stuff and like seeing trends and all that, it's like, man, like we're putting a lot of work into this thing, and I hope people like it. So that'll be later this year.
I follow him on Twitter, and I've been thinking about reaching out and seeing if he wanted to come on the podcast. So put in a good word for us if you would.
Yeah, of course. Adam's a good dude, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Is that game going to be under the Rooster Teeth IP, or are you guys doing a separate?
No. That's just Adam and I. No, the Rooster Teeth. So Bernie bought the IP of Rooster Teeth back, but I mean, it's literally just that. It's just a name. So it's not like, Rooster Teeth isn't a building full of computers and people anymore. Like that's, when Warner shut us down, they literally just wiped out everything we had. I mean, it took time, but I mean, like those buildings have already been repurposed and other stuff. And so it's funny, like even the video Bernie put out of him like coming back. Yeah, that studio, that was stage 5, which we hadn't been in like 6 years. So it's like we haven't like that. Like we left that studio because Walker Texas Ranger took it over, and so because they needed more space. That's crazy. So they were in there, and then they just left Texas last year. So like that building's empty now, and so all the hangars, that's Austin Film Society, AFS. They own all of those hangars, including what used to be Rooster Teeth, all the Walker stuff, and so I'm sure he just called up someone, was like, "Hey, can I film in here real quick?" And so knocked that out. But I mean, we'll see what he's going to do with that. I mean, he now owns the Rooster Teeth IP, so the name Rooster Teeth is gone back to him. So anything revolving around Rooster Teeth, Bernie now controls. He owns, I think, Red vs. Blue, Camp. There's a whole list of things he bought, like Inside Gaming. He did like Achievement Hunter still owned by Warner Brothers. Let's Play still owned by Warner Brothers. Ruby got bought by Viz Media, so it's another company. So they control that now, and so. But I mean, he's like, I talked to him a little bit, and he's talking about like, he's got a podcast now, Morning Somewhere, which I think he's going to roll that underneath Rooster Teeth. So that'll be a Rooster Teeth production. And then it sounds like they want to do some more podcasts underneath that brand. As far as I know, though, like the ones that have kind of spun off, like Red Web's doing their own thing, Regulation Podcast doing their own thing, the Stinky Dragon guys are doing their own thing. I don't think any of those are going to come back under Rooster Teeth. I mean, as far as I know, like maybe they're talking with them. I know the Stinky Dragon guys, though, they're pretty much set. Like they signed a contract with Critical Role, so they're under their sort of network now. But yeah, we'll see what happens with it. Like, I've talked with Bernie briefly about some stuff that he wants to do possibly down the line and things I want to help out with. And I'm psyched. Like I'm happy to know that Rooster Teeth is in good hands.
Right. That was what I was super happy about. That like it went back where it belongs to my in my opinion. You know. Because just it being dead, I just couldn't handle that, you know. Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe when Warner doesn't want as much money as they want for Achievement Hunter, like maybe he'll scoop it back up, or you know, like we can do a GoFundMe and raise enough money to buy it. But
yeah,
they wanted way too much money for Achievement Hunter, and Bernie, when I talked to him, he even apologized, like, I'm sorry I didn't get it. I'm like, dude, like that wasn't your baby. Like, I totally understand, and it was going to cost a lot of money just to get a name. So,
do you think he's going to move back to the U.S.?
He has a house in the U.S. Like he's always had a house in the U.S. So I think he's going to bounce back and forth. I don't know that. I don't think he's going to leave his home leave his away home right now. I think he's going to stay there. But it'll be a thing where he comes on films.
When he's here, he tries to film as much stuff as possible, like as many episodes and stuff. So that's always cool.
Yeah, and so even like he was in town for a few weeks back in December, I think, and that's when like I came in and I recorded an episode with him, and he actually told me about the whole Rooster Teeth thing then, and so I was like, I knew it was coming.
Was it hard
and
to
then,
keep your mouth shut?
Not really. I don't like I'm pretty good about for NDA stuff where I'm like, I'm not gonna spoil stuff. Yeah. So it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like I was happy for it. Like happy to hear that. I was like, well, it's again going under friendly hands. Like the name and everything is gonna go under somewhere we can trust. But we'll see what happens down the line and see what he turns it into. Like I don't know what his plans are, honestly. I don't know if he wants to regrow it into something massive or keep it something smaller or what, but we'll see how it goes.
I just know that my inboxes were full the day that he posted that video, the under new management video. I'm like, and I saw it that morning without that, and then I was like, holy crap, I got my Instagram, my Facebook, my text, everybody was texting me. So
I got a lot of texts that day. People like, are you to go back? It's like, well, no, it's like there's no place for me. There is no going back. There's nothing there yet.
It's nothing. It's just the name. It's just the name right now. So, but you
got a pretty good hold in Channel 37, and I think the community, from what I've seen in the server, has grown pretty good.
I mean, the Channel 37 it's been so much fun, and honestly, like, I sort of did my time with Rooster Teeth where I'm like, all right, I want to try something new, try something on my own, try something different. And so, I mean, I spent 15 years full time at Rooster Teeth. And so it's like, all right, I think now I'm going to branch out. And like, I've had a lot of fun kind of dabbling in different stuff. Like I've been streaming now for almost a decade at this point, but I have my YouTube channel where I'm like making original content for my YouTube page. I'm selling like trading card stuff, like Magic the Gathering I've really gotten into. So I've been selling like Magic cards online and having a blast with that. I'm poking around, maybe making my own game with Adam. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff kind of happening right now, and so it's kind of fun to be, just try different things and kind of give myself the ability to try new stuff, and it's been fun.
Yeah.
So do you want to
keep us posted?
Share all your links too. Yeah. Where all can people find, like, not just Channel 37, but I mean your YouTube, your trading?
Oh yeah. So everything. So I sell trading cards on TCG Player. So if you go bit.ly/JackLikesCards, that's where I sell all my Magic cards. So I will stream like me opening packs, and then a lot of times like, the stuff I open I'll put in my store, so you can buy the cards you watch me open live. So bit.ly/JackLikesCards, that's where you can find my TCG Player page. I only sell to the US, no foreign countries yet, just because of the taxes are weird and stuff. It's kind of a pain. So just US only. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/JackPattillo. You can go there. That's 2 T's 2 L's. You can go there, and that's all my when I stream, I put my archives there. So I put my like live archives there. Also, I'm doing a Stardew Valley series right now that's going up every single day. So new video every day right there. Twitch.tv/JackPattillo. That's when I stream live there. I'm on Blue Sky under @JackPattillo.com. I did the thing where I could actually like register my personal one. I abandoned Twitter because it's a hellhole.
It's a wild place, man.
Dude.
Wild West.
So when I started at Channel 37, I made a brand new Twitter account for Channel 37. They're like, we want to be on there. I'm like, okay, it's kind of a shithole. And so I made a new account, and it was bad. Like, just the amount of stuff that they just serve up to people that haven't built out an algorithm. Oh my God. Everything was on fire. It was a nightmare. And so it's like, so I post there and kind of like hold my nose, post, and leave. Anyway, Blue Sky. You can follow me on Blue Sky. I'm JackPattillo.com over there. Instagram, I'm Jack Pattillo. I try to keep it all simple. I used to use a pseudonym and all that and use a handle, but now it's like, no, if it's me, I want you to know it's me. And Yeah, and so I think that's pretty much it right now. Discord.gg/channel37. You can go there. That's channel 37's Discord channel. That's where I'm in there all the time. I literally have it open right now, and I'm keeping an eye on stuff. And that's where we're building our community around the game. We also have non-game related stuff in there. If you just want to talk about making cupcakes or brownies or anything else you want to talk about, like we're talking about Assassin's Creed right now in there too. So
go join me there. We'll post as many of the links as we can in the description, so you guys can find it,
including the Last Caretaker link on Steam as well, so you can
yes, please. Wishlist. That's one thing I didn't know about.
We already have. We all already have.
Yeah,
we have. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wishlists are like, that is the golden metric for like pre-release games. Apparently, I didn't know this until I got into this side of it. But yeah, everyone looks at wishlists because like there's a metric where it's like X number of wishlists means Y number of sales, and so like bump that number up. Like we want to get wishlists. So please, if you can, wishlist the game, Epic Game Store or Steam. That would be super cool. The Last Caretaker. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really great. Well, thank you so much, Jack. I don't have anything. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? No,
I got nothing.
Austin FC is looking good. I don't know if any of you guys are soccer fans. Austin FC is doing well, 2-2 right now, but we got a bunch of new strikers. They're looking good. Just saying.
I'm an NFL fan and a WNBA fan, so
cool.
In my team, I'm a Colts fan, and they're just a shit show. So I don't
honestly. Jack, we all play games. We don't touch grass. We have no idea what grass looks like. I live in Ohio, so it's always snowing or raining. I don't go outside anyway.
Dude, Columbus has a solid team, man. I'm saying.
See, I live in Iowa. We don't have a team for anything. We have no teams for anything. So
we got some good farmers.
I'm born and raised here in Austin, and like University of Texas was so big they scared out any pro teams, and so we never had a pro team. We had the Cowboys were like the closest NFL. Well, I guess the Texans it was the Oilers, but now the Texans. But I mean, those were kind of the teams. So I was like a Cowboys fan in the '90s when they were America's team. But we never had we have the Rockets and we have the Mavericks and the Spurs. And for the longest time, I hated the Spurs because I couldn't stand Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. I hated those guys. Big Mavs fan, but now the Mavs suck because they booted Luka.
Horrible.
But anyway, so. It's so bad. But I've been in Austin, and I was like, whenever Austin gets a pro team, I'm going all in. Yeah. And so MLS is like, we're gonna open up a team in Austin. I'm like, I'm all in. So I bought season tickets, right in the midway of the pitch. Great seats, way too expensive. And I've been there as many games. I think I've missed only 4 games in the last 5 years. So I did
the same thing with we had an arena football team come to town.
Oh, nice.
And I thought, you know what? It's arena football. It's probably gonna suck, but me and my daughter we bought season tickets to it because it's something here. I'm gonna support it. And 3 games in, COVID hit. Done.
Man.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, it was not cool. So
CC has the worst luck of any person I've ever met.
Yeah.
He threw his back out. He got super sick. He
broke my foot.
Broke his foot on a punching bag.
This is new. Okay. I'm a retired mixed martial arts champion. Okay. I broke my foot on my punching bag in my other room. Come on, man. Yeah, ridiculous.
Was it a speed bag? I didn't think you could kick that high, but that's impressive.
No. So it's the bottom of the bags are super hard, Oh, yeah, I was in there just throwing combos, working out one day, and I was like, see if I haven't kicked in 10 years. I'm going to see if I can kick. So I started kicking, and I slipped on the carpet and kicked the bottom, broke all the bones on the top of my foot. It was
I now see why you're retired.
So to add on to my terrible luck, my girlfriend was super ill last weekend when we were in Indianapolis for the Comic-Con. Went to the urgent care. They gave her antibiotics, an inhaler, and a whole nebulizer with 200 nebulizer treatments. So we get home. Yeah, so we get home and we went to Sam's Club yesterday to get, some groceries and stuff. We weren't even gone an hour. We come home and our dog chewed up her nebulizer treatments. And so we had to take him to the vet ER last night. So
oh God.
Yeah, he made it. He pulled through. He's good. But man, it was a scary night. It was a scary night.
Bad luck just never ends.
No, it never ends.
Animals in pain are the absolute worst. Or when you don't know if they're in pain, we have so I've got a Great Pyrenees. He's about 100 pounds. big boy. And there was one time, the same deal where it was Katie and I, we left the house and she had left out a bar of dark chocolate like on our little like table by the living room. And sure enough, we got home and that there was like, it was shredded and it was like chunks of it were like, I mean, the whole thing was missing and we're like, uh-oh. And so there's a calculator online where you can put the percentage of chocolate it is and how much your dog weighs. And it's like, is it okay? Is it like keep an eye out or is it like go to the ER? And so for him, like his size was like, okay, keep an eye on him. He's not going to have a good night. And so I was like, all right, we watched him and he was shockingly fine. Like he never really, nothing horrible happened to him, but
lucky.
It was, yeah.
Well,
I
called the vet hospital, the 24-hour one, and they're like, oh, call poison control first. It's going to cost $100, but call them first. And then we will be able to call them and know how to treat it. And it won't cost us much. So we called them. I paid the $100 for poison control, which is insane to me. We took him to the vet we got there about 10 o'clock, left at midnight, and then we had to bring him back by 6 a.m. just to have him checked out again. And luckily he's good. We just lost our 16-year-old pit bull in January. We had her put down and it was just like losing a kid, man. And
dude, yeah.
So now we have two new ones and we thought we were going to lose another one. It's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I had my college cats, the one that were still with us when my wife and I got married. And we had to like over 2 winters, we had to like put them down after each other. One we put down, the other passed away. And it's just like, oh, it's heartbreaking. Like I don't have children, but it's like having my animals, like they're all, and the thing is now they're all getting old. So it's like, oh no, I don't like this.
Right.
I don't want to do it again.
My girlfriend has kids. I've been here most of their lives. So they're basically mine. And the dog is just so much better than the kids, So listen, I love the kids, but the dog never told me no. It never talks back, you know. So it was hard. It was so hard.
All right. Well, on that note, talking about animal death, we should check out the game.
Yeah.
Thanks
check out The Last Caretaker, everybody. Add it to your wish list. We'll have it in the description. Check it out. If you guys are looking for any game testers, I know 3 guys that would love to test the game out. So, but thank you so much, Jack. Kai, you want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything we said, or maybe something you want us to discuss on the next episode. You can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Rumble. And then also, of course, follow us on our socials on Patreon, Facebook, X, TikTok, and Instagram.